Hey, Sam. Welcome back to the Prosperity Pathways podcast. My name is Erica Darshell, your host. Today, we are standing at the ultimate intersection of leadership, service, and scalable ownership. Our guest today spent 23 years commanding troops in the U.S. Army, masterfully leading teams through high-stress environments. When he returned to civilian life, he stepped out on pure faith, went back to school for his master's, and built a successful business right here in the heart of D.C. He is a powerhouse, pillar of the community, and owner-operator of Rush Bowls, Washington, D.C. Please welcome to the Forge, Sim Smith.
Hey.
Thank you. So, Sims, I thank you again for joining us today. For those who are just meeting you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we dive deeper into your story?
Okay, I appreciate it. So first off, Erica, thank you for the magnificent job you're doing. What you're doing is you bringing light to the community and you are highlighting a lot of great things. So one, I like to say God has provided you with a lot of favor and you are a blessing. So thank you for all you've done and what you continue to do, okay? So 23 years military, like you said, I'm kind of fast forward to where I'm at right now. Being a operator owner for a business, it has its ups and downs, but I will say the ups outweighs the downs any day. Being a part of the Rush Bowl franchise, being a part of the DC community, and just understanding what it's like to being a entrepreneur is great. I've had vast array of jobs in the military, in the government, but once I stepped out on my own, I said, you know what, let me try something different. Success or failure, you know what, I tried. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only thing you have to ask yourself. So I've done a lot in the military. I was fortunate. I was blessed to do what I was able to do, serve my country, continue to serve my country, as well as transition to the civilian sector and serve the people of DC. So I'm fortunate and blessed with all aspects.
Definitely. So you spent 23 years commanding troops, like I stated earlier, the ultimate high stakes operating system, right? You have to figure out these are the highest, like I worked in food service and there's nothing, no food rush or anything that can compare to that. So, and now you've moved into food service as well. So you understand the difference, but you can apply the same tactics in a way.
Right.
So what's one Army grade tactic you installed at Rush Bowls that instantly optimized your shop?
Well, one thing I was the Army installed in everybody: leadership, teamwork, integrity, partnership, all that. So of all of that, I would say leadership. And leadership it's not just the boss and the employee piece. Leadership is at every level. And we always conflate, if you're the boss, you have to be the one who lead, make all decisions. So what I have brought from the table with the military into my current position is leadership. I install in my employees, hey guys, listen, we all lead in some fashion. I want to utilize you guys to lead by providing, great ideals. Leading is great ideals, influencing me to do better, allowing me to learn from what you've done. Because like you said, you have a food service background and I could grab your leadership and employ them with my job. So that's one thing I would say: the military bringing the leadership portion into the food service and expanding on what your team has their leadership. Everybody have a different style of leadership. Everybody has something they bring to the table when it comes to leadership. So allowing them to expand on what they know and how they can lead in certain aspects of food service.
Okay. That's awesome. Learning from each other is a big thing. And a lot of people always think once you're the boss or the manager that, oh, you're just supposed to either know or figure out everything for everybody. When really you can learn from each other. Like, hold on, this is my first time doing it. Can you show me? You've been doing it for years. You were here before me. I just bought in and I just got here. Show me.
Right.
A lot of people are scared to ask for help, I think is the biggest thing.
Well, to kind of piggyback on that, if you don't mind me, I learned from great leaders. And one leader told me this. He said, and you probably heard this saying as well: if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to move to another room. And what that means is, and what I take from it, I'm not going to say what it means, but what I take from it is, if you always making those decisions, whether it's hard decision, soft decision, whatever decision, and it's fall on you, and you're not allowing everybody around you to have an input, and you're not gravitating to what they have, then everything is centralized on your decision. And your decision, yes, you're the ultimate decision maker, but their inputs can shape your decision. Their inputs can make you a better leader. And, to be a good leader, you got to be a good servant. And serving people allow you to understand their weaknesses and their strength. So, like I say, if you're the smartest person in the room, you need to move to another room, meaning that, hey, if you don't surround yourself with smart people, you can never get better. So that's one of the things I look at life and look at not only my personal life and also the business aspect, but just in general. Always surround yourself with smart people. Make sure the people in the room are smart. If they're smarter than you, just gravitate to it.
Exactly, because how are you supposed to grow if you're the smartest person in the room all
Right.
the time? You're not learning from anyone or anything. So I've always been told that as well. My dad was in the Army as well. He served in Desert Storm. So
Oh man.
he's instilled a lot of that stuff into me as well.
Thank you for the service.
Yes. So my next question for you, how did you pivot from being the operator in chief to becoming the architect of your own business?
Well, the pivot was a slow pivot. Now, and I'm gonna kind of take a step back, if you don't mind. So part of the pivot was when on the latter half of my military career, I had a discussion with my wife, and I said, "Hey, listen, babe, I would like to venture out on my own. Success or failure, I like to venture out on my own and see what I'm able to do as a entrepreneur." And she, grace God, she fell in line with it. So I have to say that first because having somebody backing you and having that faith and having somebody help you with your dream really makes the transition from owner to owner, operator owner to the person who's really running the shop. So that's kind of the stage setter. Now, moving forward to what your question is, the pivot was more of, you know what, there's going to be some challenges. Do I really want to take these challenges? And once I take these challenges, do I feel like I'm be successful? Now, it's a mindset. The mindset is always gravitate to doing versus trying. If you're a doer, you always gonna be successful. Even when you fail. People's like, oh, well, failure. It's like, listen, you have to endure failure to be successful. So that's what helped me pivot from being that straight operator to, you know what, I'm gonna own what I'm facing. A good or bad, I'm gonna have to own it. And that was the piece kind of learning about myself, understanding that don't go into situations feeling like failure is a last choice. Go into situations knowing that failure is a way to bring you to the next stage in life. And, I hope that's the piece that not only gravitate for me, but gravitate for my employees as well as the customers that come in.
Yes. Failure is a part of life and you just have to learn from it and keep pushing. And I
Right.
like the way you said that is you have to go from saying you're going to try to say I'm going to do, even
Hmm.
if you don't know how, because if you say I'm going to do, then you'll figure it out. There was a motivational speaker that said her mom would always tell her everything is figure outable.
And that's true. That's true because reality is like for yourself. You probably wrote everything down on a sheet of paper. You knew exactly what you was going to do, and
Mhm.
and what got you to the stage what you're at in your successful career and your success in your life is you not only wrote everything you wanted down on a sheet of paper, but you acted everything out. You didn't act it out just in your mind. You put all your actions to in the atmosphere, and you actually did it. And what by you acting your things out, you got your successful podcast and you have successful personal lives outside this podcast. So, and people gravitate to your success because they don't see Erica as just somebody who write things down on paper. They see, man, she's an actionable person. And by being an actionable person, you get other folks who want to be actionable with you and they will help carry the water for you.
Yeah, that was another lesson I had is you can't help people that don't even want to help themselves.
Right.
And a lot of times, personally, and I know there's a lot of people in the audience who have tried effortlessly to help somebody
Hmm.
who in the back of your mind actually doesn't even want the help. They
Right.
don't want it, but you just keep trying, but
Hmm.
they don't even want the help.
Right.
So that's when you need to reserve your energy and grow in yourself because pouring into empty cup that has a hole in the bottom is not going to work. They have so many memes out there for that, right?
But can I ask you a
Like,
question on that?
go ahead.
Well, and I agree wholeheartedly. I feel just it's more of a statement than a question. I feel like a lot of people who don't want help don't know how to ask for help.
Yeah.
And it's a prideful thing. It's once you start doing something and you see it's not working, because I'll be honest with you, being transparent, I'm prideful at times. And there's some things that my wife, she's like, Sims, that's not gonna make sense. But my pride got in my way. But then once you push your pride aside and you understand how to ask for help, because that is a lesson you have to learn. How can I ask for help without people feeling like I'm incompetent or I'm not allowing my pride? So, it's what I've learned in life, especially in my 23 years in the military and on the civilian side, is, you know, people don't know what they don't know, but people don't know what they don't know because they fear how it's going to look to them and how it's going to look to others. So they internalize it so they don't have to show people. They don't feel like they're showing people weaknesses, which asking for help is actually a great strength, and it empowers others to do more because now people value what you are working to do, and you value their input.
That's very true. That is one thing that I was always taught is there's never a dumb question and always ask questions. Never make assumptions because when you make assumptions, you make a yes.
You and me.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I was always taught. And I was prideful for a little bit in one of my prior business ventures where I wasn't asking for help that I needed. And so when it was time to grow and expand, I just handed off my client to a whole nother company and dissolved the company, started a new one. And it was an enlightening moment because instead of pushing and still trying, I recognized that that wasn't a space for me.
Right.
And now I'm in a space that I feel more comfortable and where I can flourish. And I am actually reaching out for more help, more mentors, and the community around me and the business ecosystem because a lot of people fear reaching out to other businesses as well, especially businesses that do the same thing that they do because they think, oh, that's competition, or it can be cooperation.
Right. Right.
Hey, what day are you having your special? Okay, I'll have mine on the day after. Like, work together. People kind of look past, and sometimes they look past it because they've had a bad experience. And I can understand having a bad experience in the past, but don't let it stop you from still trying. So,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. My next question for you. Why Rush Bowls? When you looked at the landscape, why was this the specific vehicle to start building your generational wealth?
Well, that's a good question. And I'm glad you asked that question. Don't want to bore you and bore your audience, but I have to give you a little boring. So back in 2000, I was 18, and I'll make it a little quick. I did look at a whole bunch of uh, other restaurants. Then I narrowed it down. The first one I even looked up, and I probably shouldn't have said it, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out there. So I looked at Zaxby's, and I was looking at it with two other individuals. But the only reason it didn't materialize because the individuals who I was, looking at teaming up with, they had some things going on in their life. So we had to put that on the back burner. Then we looked at other franchises. I'm sorry, look at other franchises to kind of buy into. One of the franchise, they informed me that they was like, hey, we're not going to open up any more locations in the Virginia area. And I was like, okay, well, I respect that, so we'll move on. So as I kept on going through it, because I always wanted to open up a franchise, not for wealth, but for allowing my son to see what's out there. So then a Rush Bowl came about. Then I look at what it takes to run a Rush Bowl. And in the beginning, it's like, you know what? It's a low threat because if you go into something that's overwhelming and you've never done it before, it's going to overwhelm you fast. So I was like, well, just looking at it, small footprint, the ebbs and flow of operating is not, real crazy. You like, okay, I can handle 5 employees. I can handle ordering this amount of inventory, ordering this. So that's one of the main reasons, starting small, and because you know how it is. If you go big all the time, you can fail big, which is nothing wrong with that. But it's sometimes just like failing big in certain aspects, it's going to cost you more. So it's with a Rush Bowl, it's like if you succeed, you succeed. If you fail, you fail, but you fail small, not huge. And I look at it as like, hey, it's a great product, which it really is. It's a To us, we love the product. We love, all natural fruits, everything, the bowls, everything that it has, we love it. So it was like, and it's a simplistic system, that allows the owner operator to really get out and enjoy the time with his family. It allows to really engage in the community, and the community loves it. You have tell you, I need to get you to the shop, get you some rush bowls, and you get it. You like, wow, I see what he's talking about. So that's kind of the long but short version of why I chose Rush Bowls over the other franchises.
Okay. Low risk, high reward.
Yes.
Yes, and it aligns with your values. And so the reason I highlighted those three things is so people fully understand when it comes to investing, it's more than can I afford it or just how much work am I going to put into it? Because you could put work into something and then while it's running, you realize you don't like it. So
Correct.
you have to does it align with my values? What is it selling? There's plenty of companies I've worked with Kava and companies like that. I work there because I like the food. Free food is always good. I get free food at my favorite restaurant. Yeah, I work there.
Or discount on clothes.
Yeah, so it works. Discounts anywhere because I worked at a bunch of different places. It aligns with not just for the free stuff, but it aligns with my values overall. Or if I leave a place is when I see that it's falling out of those values, or I've just moved on. I've grown out of it. So just money doesn't always drive everything. And so that's really what I tell the audience. Generational wealth is more than just the actual financials. It's your family, it's your values. Because if you pour into something just because of the money and you're still miserable, there's a lot of people that you see it on the news. This rich person did this, or this happened to this person.
Well, it's crazy you said that. I was a comedian. You probably heard what this comedian said before. Dave Chappelle, he even said he had a kind of like I won't say a joke, but he put the joke into realization, and I'm paraphrasing. He's like, hey, bottom line, he said, hey, there was a rich man, had everything. And guess what he did? Off himself. Poor man didn't have anything and living every day. And what they tell you, and just like you look at these billionaires that getting divorced, it's like, how much do we really value money over happiness? Because you could have all the money in the world and it's that internal unhappiness. So when you get a business, if it doesn't align with your values, it doesn't align, your integrity is compromised because of the business. Well, in order for me to make more money, I need to do X, Y, and Z. Then you're not working or owning the business for the purpose of the true generational wealth. The true generational wealth is not money. It's allowing your family to have, freedom to do other things and be successful. And that's how I look at it, because money comes and go. It really does. Money, you can make $1 million a day and be negative $1 million tomorrow. But guess what you can do in between that negative and that positive? To live your life. And if you're not living your life to the fullest and enjoying what you're blessed to have right now, you're not going to be happy. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much money you have. But the poorest man may be the happiest man in the world. And the saddest man could be the richest man in the world, because he's like, I have all the money, but I have nobody to share it with. I have all the money, but I have no friends. And in life, if you don't have friends, you don't have family, you don't have those loved ones to be there for you, what is money?
Yeah, the poor man, you'll see homeless people walking down the street with a smile on their face. And then the rich people look like they got a stick up their butt. So they're miserable, but they still have to go to work because that's what
You're right.
they've committed to. I stopped doing that. My next question for you. What was the first poverty trap you encountered that kept you trading time for survival, and how did you figure out a different way?
Well, I will say the first poverty trap, especially for the business, and man, I had many. So part of it, and you know how it is starting a business. You're gonna take some losses. You're gonna take some some bruises. And, we had, we was kind of doing real well last summer. And man, when the government shutdown happened and all of the things that was going on, on the political spirit in DC started happening. Oh my goodness. You just look at your account like, man, I'm spending way more than I am receiving. And you constantly see it, you start to see it. And I will say, and it's been real, it can be depressing. It could be depressing because you're looking at, what am I doing wrong? And you always take the blame, no matter what the outside is. But then you like, I just got to keep grinding because my thought process was always, I don't want my employees to go home hungry. I want them to always have something, and the goal is to figure it out. So when we hit it got to the point like at one point I had $900 in my business account. Think about it, $900 in the business account. You got rent, you got labor, you have the regular bills, you have inventory, you got all this you got to pay. And I had 900, and I prayed about it. I said, Lord, if you can find a way, you can get us through this. The power of prayer, man, money came in, started coming in, and we overcame some of those financial stressors, and it's still growing pains. I'm not gonna say everything is great right now because you would not return to where you originally were at some point. You either get way better or you will get marginally great. And you have to have the expectation of I was high at one point in making some good money. I hit my low point. Now I'm going up on the curve. And as we start to get that curve, like it's a power of prayer. Once we hit that curve, we start to, make some more money. We was like, okay, let's really change the game of how we doing things. Some of the things I've done is I had to reduce staff, understand how I'm gonna do inventory. It's just a lot of internal wheels you had to change. And once you start changing some of those things, you're like, okay, now we can kind of, even things out. And I hope people understand that once you hit rock bottom, sometimes you're gonna fight or you're gonna stay there. And the best thing for you to do is just fight it out.
Yeah, my favorite story from being in that type of situation, what was it? A book I read from Damon John, and he was talking about when he started Fubu and he sold all of his living room furniture so that he could buy supplies and sewing machines for the company. And he set up all of the tables and stuff in the living room since he didn't have furniture there anymore. And you just have to make it work, whatever way it has to work.
Yeah.
When you're an entrepreneur, it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes, but it's having faith in yourself. And like we said earlier in the conversation, it helps when you have a support system of people, at least one other person who has faith in you as well.
Right. And one thing, and you probably have done this too, and we probably still do this. You're reaching out to other business owners, hey, what are some of your pitfalls? Because people love to share their stories because they don't want other folks to endure those pitfalls. And that's the piece of pride you have to eliminate. You made a good point earlier. You was like, hey, reaching out to other folks doesn't mean you messing up competition. It's like, oh, it's competition. It's healthy competition, or it's healthy ways to bring more business to that corridor, like Main Street, U Street. There's a lot of businesses in DC that, and people walk through big DC. DC is a lot of businesses that have went under, and not because of things they've done wrong. It's just the environment may have changed. People's spending habit may have changed. You don't know. However, those individuals, before they went under or had to close or relocate, they reached out. They made sure it's a community, and they could at least walk away saying, hey, we made a community. We became a community. We lean on each other. So one thing I would like to just, make sure everybody understand that by reaching out to folks across the aisle, and your competitors. You might say, oh, he's my competitor. He sell the same thing I sell. It's great. Prop their stuff up, because guess what? Now, if they try my smoothie bowls and things of that nature, then go and try my competitors, then they be like, oh, okay, well, I do like yours because of this. I wish you guys had this. Hey, I go back to the CEO, say we may want to incorporate this, to be more competitive. So it's always just being on the grind and being active. And active doesn't mean fighting people for space, but active mean getting in people's ear who have that knowledge, getting with people who don't mind sharing that knowledge.
Yeah, that that mentor space. I know I mentioned the word mentor earlier.
Mhm.
And when I mention mentor, it's not just somebody you talk to on a regular basis, it's anybody you can go to for advice or to bounce ideas off of. And our audience, whoever you may be, if you are that person that falls into that category where you feel like there's nobody you can go to bounce ideas off of, find somebody who has a similar mindset, or honestly surprise yourself and go talk to somebody who was suggested to you before and you were like, nah, they would know. Try it. It really wasn't anything against them. It's me, like being prideful. Hey, what am I supposed to say? I don't want to sound beggy. You don't want to sound like you're trying to get them to be your consultant for free. But people do want to help. And if it's within their means, they will help you. And that's been my experience, especially with the DC business ecosystem, whether it's the governmental departments like DSLBD and YCAS, they're very helpful, everyone. It's
Mhm.
just a matter of you going to them and asking the right questions. They aren't just going to come up to you and find you and say, here, do you need this information? And start like Jehovah Witness when they knock on your door.
Right.
Hey, no, they're not going to come find you. You have to go searching for this information, even if you don't know the exact question you need to ask. Just start with what you're doing, and they can probably help you from there. That's been my experience. So,
Well, I like that, and actually, since I got you on there, and I know you have that experience. What are some things that you think, with you being successful in your business and having a previous business? What are some things that you will tell a aspiring a person who would like to start a podcast? Say, hey, listen, these are the 5 things you need to write down and challenge yourself to do.
someone starting a podcast, 5 things that I'm still starting to do. First of all, be consistent. Second of all, don't be scared to be yourself. So I'm glad you asked me that. Last month, I went to go visit my grandmother and we were going shopping, and she said something to me that resonated on a different level than what she meant. She was like, you should don't hide yourself. Those were her words. Don't stop hiding yourself.
Mm.
And so when she said that, it actually resonated with me when it comes to my podcast. I've been getting better. I had saw myself growing and getting better over the years, but I could be doing more. I could be getting way better. I should return to the person I was before a lot of life experiences made me go into a turtle shell, because I know exactly when that moment happened. So that when she said stop hiding yourself, I realized, yeah, I'm not the bouncy, quirky, introduce myself to everybody, taking pictures of everybody, taking pictures all the time. I did that all through high school. And then things happened. Yeah, so I'm not gonna dive too deep into my story since we are
Okay.
interviewing you, but that the list of 5. So be consistent, be yourself, unapologetically, but respectfully. I'll
Hmm.
say it that way. And
It could be 3.
wait, don't wait till you have fancy equipment and all that stuff. All you need is an iPhone or Android, whichever one you're using. I had one of each.
Okay.
And network,
Yes.
go out there and talk to people. And the last 2 go together. So network and follow up.
Yes.
Follow up to the point that you're slightly annoying, but don't be annoying. Yeah.
Can I take one of your points from you?
Yes.
I like to be yourself one. So that one, I like all your points, but I do like to be yourself. And I say that because part of the thing is that for our business, you know how it is in the food industry. You're gonna have customers come, customers go. Customers are gonna come in and they're gonna have, depending on what day they have. And my goals every time when a customer come in here is to really bring a smile to them. I have a conversation with my customers. I ensure that they, kind of put their phones away. Because I feel like you wake up to your phone, you go to sleep to your phone. I would like to talk to you long enough so you can have a 10-minute, 5 to 10 minute conversation without thinking about what's going on in your world outside of you eating that smoothie. And I say that and I tie it into being yourself is being yourself is always, be happy. If you're happy, happy. Because your smile and your happiness will actually shape other folks. Because now the folks that were, quirky or who love smile at for all the time, they trying to change. If they see other people bringing that energy, they're gonna be like, man, I miss that. I miss being that way, and their smile's gonna come back, and they're gonna be like, man, I could come here and just really smile, and then your inner being start changing because like it's nothing wrong with smile. It's nothing wrong with being silly. It's nothing wrong with just taking a lot of photos because the memory is not the photos, the memory is what you make. And just by being with other folks and just bringing joy to other people's life. Because I had a lot of customers, they're like, you must not be from DC. It's like, wow. It's like, you just happy. You got a lot of energy. You must be the owner. I was like, well, yeah, I'm the owner. I said, I'm from Alabama. It's like, yeah, you couldn't be. I was like, well, this is the thing. I live like this. If you walk around here mad, you're going to bring negative energy to other folks. And people not going to want to be around it. But if you bring light to people, you smiling, that person who had a bad day, that one person who had a bad day, you could change their whole life just by saying, how you doing? What's the highlight of your day? I said simple questions and it allow you to be yourself because now you could be relatable with them. They could talk about their issues, talk about their concern. It's a safe space because it's like I tell them, I don't know people you work with or who you engage with. Be yourself. Let yourself go. Let yourself be free. Take that stress off your shoulder because you wake up to stress, you go to sleep to stress. You need to divest in the stress at some point. So I like that be yourself, at all time. Or if you are able to be yourself all the time, do it.
Yes, because a lot of times you can be yourself all the time. It's just, like I said, respectfully. So, because in a business environment, I can still be myself. You just have to watch how you speak. Like, if I'm with family and any instance, any situation, you can always be yourself, just respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
Because some people take be yourself as say whatever you want, whenever you want. And that doesn't mean be disrespectful let me put it this way. By saying whatever you want, you know in your mind it's going to hurt somebody's feelings or anything negative, you shouldn't do it. Even when I form sentences, I try to form them all in a positive way to the best of my ability. Even when I'm asking questions, if I can use a positive word versus a negative word, then so be it. If I can use something brighter, I'm not going to say light versus dark because I don't like using that as an analogy of good versus evil because dark is just the absence of light.
I mean,
Even put that positive.
and that's good because affirmation is always something that we don't do it. We really don't. As it's a you can say it's a cultural thing, American culture thing, a worldly culture thing, but we're so used to wanting other folks to, say, hey, you doing the attaboy. Listen, first be proud of yourself. You wake up in the morning, be thankful you wake up, but also think about 3 things that you want to learn today. My goal when I wake up each day is like, what do I want to learn today? What are some things, 3 to 5 things I need to learn today? 3 to 5 things I just need to pursue today. Something I need to figure out what's something just to keep me active. And it can be the same 3 things, but you want to have something attainable and being positive about life, you know, turning some negative to positive. Because a lot of people like, oh man, bad things happen. True, you're always going to face bad things. But what have you learned? Because the thing about it is not that something bad happened. What have you learned? The takeaway is what are you learning from that bad? In the midst of, you didn't make a good grade on this science project. Well, what you learn? Did you learn to study different? Did you learn that hey, I probably need to focus a little more on this portion of the science piece than this portion because I got through this piece kind of is fairly easy. What are you learning? Because failure is only a construct of that, the ideal of, well, I'm not good enough. Well, it's not that you're not good enough. Failure is just something that happens. But if you don't learn from failure, you're gonna stay in that, you're gonna stay in that vehicle. That vehicle gonna keep driving the same way. I didn't make A's. I only made D's. It's like, okay, so what you gonna do about it? What's your goal to be better? What you without studying, you made a C or a high D. Imagine if you studied that CD could be BC. Just little things. So never take away from your greatness by diminishing your light, of the things that you didn't do well. Stay positive. Look at the bright side of everything that's happening.
Yeah, stay solution focused.
Yeah.
Don't focus on the problem. If you see a big problem, don't focus on it. Oh, this is happening. That doomsday. What can you do to solve the problem?
Right.
So, my next question for you, speaking of motivating people, how do you keep the crew focused and aligned on a busy Tuesday morning, for instance?
Well, one thing I do is because I have a diverse set of employees, cultural background, age background. So the goal is to always meet them where they at. In order for me to keep them motivated to do, I'm always asking them questions. Hey, if you was the boss, what would you do? What would you change? And it goes back to putting yourself around smart people. In order for workers, co-workers, bosses, individuals who are employed by you, in order for everybody to do better, they have to have buy-in. And the buy-in is, what would you do if you was the boss? Talk me through some things that we may need to change. So part of what I do normally is just have a conversation. Sometimes it's about work. Sometimes it's just about life. And by talking to my employees, it motivates them to want more. Because now the interest is not financial based. It's not about make me money in the store. It's about how can I grow as a person? And he also sees me more than just a person who works here. He also have interest in my day-to-day life. Because as a boss, even if you're in charge of two people, you could be in charge of two people or 200 people. Once you make connections with your employees, you will see the difference in their work ethic. They will work harder and they will apply themselves differently because you have made a genuine connection, not an artificial connection. You have really sat down and asked them the questions that matter. And you place them in positions that they can truly make decisions. And I say this before we move on. I had an employee, and I was just talking to her. She was in high school at the time. I was like, well, what would you do here? What would you change at the job? And I also asked her, they said, well, I do X, Y, and Z because I think we need to do this, this, and this. I said, oh, that's a good idea. It's great. I went in, implemented. She came back to work. She said, wow, you actually did what I asked you to do. What I said, I changed. I said, why not? I said, my goal is for you, as well as myself, look at yourself on both sides of the coin. The person who providing the service and the person who's receiving service. If you look at yourself as the customer, you can make this business better. So to motivate my employees to do better and to want more, I ask them where you see yourself or what can we do as an organization to be better and implement some of those changes. Will all the ideas be great ideas? Probably not. However, the ones that are great, you give them that, hey, thank you for what you've done, implement it, show it. If a customer comes in and says, oh, I like this, I highlight that employee right in front of their customers. Say, hey, such had a great idea, and I always talk highly of my employees, even with customers in there, because I'm like, without them, there's no me. And I don't want them to go any day without knowing that I'm appreciative of them showing up, just showing up to work. You show up to work, I'm happy. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, definitely in fast food.
Hey, little Timmy may say, I'm not coming today.
So my next question for you,
Mm-hmm.
when your shop hits a wall, what is your after action review process to turn that failure into a permanent system upgrade?
When my shop hit the wall, well, That's a good question. One thing I do is the first thing I do, I have to really sit back. I don't rush to failure because if you've already in failure, no need to keep rushing, banging your head against it. So I sit back and I like, let me evaluate where I'm going wrong, where the shop going wrong. Is it internal? Is it externally? What are we doing wrong? And there's a whole lot of praying too. I pray about it. I sit in silence, ask God for answers. Lord, just find answers for me. But also part of it is the goal is not to feel as if you have to be the single point of failure or the single point of solution. It's a team effort. You bounce ideas off people. Hey, listen, we're not making the sales this month. For 3 months in a row, we haven't made sales. Let's sit down and let's think about as a shop. What are some things that I'm not doing that you feel like we could do better? And I have to ask those questions because you as an employee may sit there and say, well, hey, if you come in at this time, you could probably catch these type of people coming in, these business individuals, and you can have conversations with them. That may be a great conversation to have. You may say, well, if we instead of providing these free samples out, we provide these. So I sit back, first thing, pray about it. Second thing, just sit in it for a minute. Because a lot of times it's not what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right. It's just the wind just have to calm down. And once you're allowed to calm down and you calm down, right as ship. And I sit down and ask my employees or ask my wife or even ask once. Matter of fact, we hit a wall, literally hit a wall. Funds was low, everything. I got on a group chat with my family, all my family back in Alabama. And I shot them an email. I said, hey, text message. I said, hey, listen, guys, what y'all think about this? This is a situation. This is at this time, winter months, business not doing well. I had to find ways to bring more business in here because, a lot of people not out and about during the winter time. So what are some things I have to do? Man, they jumped on. People text me back. Well, you ever thought about this? You ever thought? And that's the thing. Open yourself to criticism or great ideas. Open yourself to allow people to be the visionary for you. Because once you visualize what you want, it only goes so far. But if everybody have some input, you could take their input and you could knock that wall down and build another piece to the house. Because what happens is if I keep banging my head on the wall, it's not going anywhere. But if you give me a hammer or a sledgehammer or something or whatever to take that wall out, your input really does help me grow. It's not about growing a business all the time. It's about you growing as a person. And if you take that as, hey, listen, did I grow as a person? Yes, the business is going to grow. Did I grow in relationships? Yes, the business is going to grow. Once you allow the things that matters, grow and be better, everything around you gets better.
Very true. I think you said something earlier that made me want to say, and you came back around to it. It's like the energy that you put out into the world is what you're going to attract.
Right.
And vice versa. The energy that you hang around is what you're going to absorb. And so that's what you're going to carry with you. So you have to be careful of the people that you're around, the people that you reach out to, and don't close yourself off to the opinions of others because a lot of people can help you that even if it's something as simple as, like you said, ideas to help us pick up business. That's something simple. You don't have to have a business degree to say, hey, why don't you do a 20% off or a family fun day or have an event or anything. I definitely know the power of brainstorming with the community, with your business partners, with your family.
And it's funny you say that about the commitment. I even ask customers, I say, what's something you like? When a customer says, oh man, I love to have this bet, and they come back the next time, they're like, you actually did that. Say, listen, I want you to keep coming here. If you thought about it, guess what? Somebody else may have thought about it. But the thing about it is somebody may not have said anything because they didn't think that we would act on it. It's like, your idea is a great idea. Yeah. You didn't put it in paper, so
that's exactly how that works. Like back to the question thing, the only stupid question is the one you don't ask because you could be asking a question that somebody else didn't want to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they have the answer because you asked.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. So back to your business, you're using tech to manage stock and your flow, scheduling, and things of that nature, right?
Right.
So how are you ensuring these tools are not just more digital clutter?
You know, that's a good question. And man, I wish I had a great answer for that. And I'm gonna have to be honest with you. You know, as technology change and it evolves, it's to be brutally honest, it's hard to stay abreast of how technology evolved and really being mindful of it. So sometimes not growing with technology is actually great because old school ways will help you be better at managing things. Inventory, some simple as inventory. As much as inventory can be a headache, really putting inventory on pen and paper and putting on an Excel spreadsheet sometimes is the best way. Because I love technology, but if you're not a technology geek out there, if you don't know technology the way, and nothing against those individuals that are smart in technology, but if you're not one of those individuals, it is going to be hard for you to kind of evolve. I mean, because it's not that technology is bad. It's just it's so much going on, and your brain really had to process. And when inventory doesn't matter how big the company is, how small it is. It's a huge part of being successful. Hours, work hours for my and scheduling for my employees, paying my employees, all that technology is like, and you get to the point that you don't want to leave everything in the hands of a third party person like a bookkeeper or everything. So a lot of you really have to hone in on making your business your business. You know, how can I simplify things so I can catch some of the mistakes? Because you're not going to get everything right. And with technology, you think technology is going to get everything right. It doesn't. And the beauty about technology is it speeds things up, but and I won't say but however, technology speeds things up to the point that there are concerns when it comes to mistakes. Then if you don't know the process or you're not familiar with the process, technology can do you in. Still learning.
Yeah, it makes sense. And then especially Rush Bowls, and do you have just one location or do you have multiple
Yes.
locations?
So currently we
So,
only have one location.
okay, so yeah, having the one location, it wouldn't even make sense to me personally, especially knowing since it's smoothie bowls, most of your inventory is equipment and fruit.
Mhm.
And so it would be easier to just use Excel spreadsheets, and then they have built-in technologies that's already in Google Sheets where it can create charts and everything for you. So you don't really need fancy technology. That is always what I point out to people in my AI classes because Forge offers workforce development training. And we tell, and also for business owners as well, I'm doing a training at Sycamore Hill on the 14th of July. And we tell them not everything does have to be automated just because AI is out there. They say it's awesome. They say on the commercials, automate everything, put
Mhm.
agents in it. You don't need agents for everything.
Yeah.
You don't need AI for everything. You don't even need technology for everything because humans are still in the loop. At the end of the day, like you said, the technology is to help you move faster. As long as you're a human, you are still able to make mistakes, which means the technology that you handle can make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
So just keeping that in mind and moving forward, I'm glad you do recognize like this is my capacity and this is most efficient for me. The biggest thing that I do tell business owners as well is just create a system around it as well. You don't want to box yourself in. You're the only person that can do it.
Right.
And then if you get sick or something, it doesn't get done.
I'm glad you hit that up. It's like being a single point of failure is, I mean, it ultimately falls on you as the owner operator. At the same, providing your team with the ability to make decisions, it relieves you of what's going on, but it allows you to open your aperture to understand your blind spots. You may think it's small, but I'm like, well, man, you know what? That's saving me $2 a cup. You know, $2 a cup times 50, that's $100, you know, or 50. So it's one of those things that every ideal that's brought to the table is a great ideal. It may not get implemented in, it may get implemented later, but understanding that motivate the boss. The boss motivate the employee. It's a mutual respect. And that's one thing, if anything I have to leave you with is respect. You have to respect one another. You may not agree, but you have to respect one another. And that's the part of being a business owner is crucial in being successful.
I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm going to harp on it one more time and then we're going to move forward because, like you just said, we can touch on that forever because a lot of people don't even realize that they're this way, for one. For two, they're closed-minded. They're not open to other people's perspectives and they always have to be right. Or they think the other person thinks that they have to always be right. It's not about being right or wrong. You can have your opinion and they can have theirs and you can disagree on them and still be friends. That is possible.
And that's key. It's key, especially in the business aspect. You know, to motivate somebody to motivate your employees to do great, you have to respect their idea. And respecting somebody's idea is not telling them, I like it, but no. Respecting the ideal is, I like your idea. However, we won't incorporate it right now because of these reasons. Now your employee have a better understanding that they could come to you, but they know at that time, it may not be conducive for their business. However, let's re-engage my idea later. And it's the dialogue of respect. A lot of people don't understand that in order for me to move forward in anything, whether it's my business relationship, my marriage relationship, my relationship with my son, I have to properly explain myself because there's some things that I may say that may get lost in the sauce. And you look at me like, you know, it didn't make sense. Or, well, you said it this way. However, if I come back and say, I said, you know, for example, you and I, Erica, I'm like, hey, Erica, you know, 2 + 2 = 4. You're like, okay, got it. Well, 2 + 2 - 6 plus this equal that. You're like, that don't make any sense. But if I explain my math to you, you're like, it don't make sense, but I can respect it. You know, there's a difference between it just don't make sense versus it don't make sense, but I respect your views. It's two different things because once I explain my view, you could still disagree, but you at least know the backdrop of it. And it's all about respect. I can respect your point of view. I can respect your ideals. I'm always going to explain to you or provide you with some type of understanding of why I feel a certain way. And I think most people feel more at ease if you just give them you don't have to give them a drawn out explanation. You just be like, hey, this is the reason why. And they be like, okay, cool.
Exactly. Finding that understanding. You don't have to agree. Just understand what they were saying and you're like, okay, yeah, that's not for me. It could be that simple. Like, oh, I understand what you're saying, but I don't agree with that. So, okay. So my next question for you, we brought up family. How are you teaching the family to view the business as a legacy asset, not just a paycheck?
Yeah, that's a great thing to think about. So me and my wife, she works in the government and she understands, you know, because when I first talked to her, I said, babe, listen, the whole point of this business is just additional income. So I'll be honest with you, I'm not looking to be multi-millionaire or anything like that. I said, would it be nice? Yes. But that's not the view. It's to additional income, passive income, and also show our son, who's now 7 years old, hey, you can do anything in your life that you apply. And she was all on board because I'm like, his uncles are successful, and some of them are military, some not military. I'm military, but I don't want him to see military as one way to be successful. Or his mom, she work in the healthcare field in the government. She's not the only way. And with us having that discussion, we came together and realized that success for this business is not about how much you make. It's about what you're pouring in and what you're getting out of it. Then for our son, the whole goal is I let him work in the store. You know, I know people don't knock me for this. So he don't do anything.
Mine's was working too.
Right. He'll put some waters up, put the waters in the machine. I mean, in the refrigerator, and he'll sweep or wipe the tables down. You know, things he do at home. You know, wipe tables down, sweep, and give him that. It's more for him work ethic because I teach him the value of work, not the value of money. Because if you hold money to a higher standard of what you're doing, then that's what you achieve. And you don't want to work towards the money. You want to work towards what you're capable of doing. And that's how we teach them the value of being a productive person in society. And also talking to them, say, hey, listen, we're gonna make good money, we're gonna make not so good money in this business. It's not about the money you make, it's about what you do with your abilities. And I talk to him and just reassure him that you will be successful wherever you do as long as you're doing something. By him putting waters in a refrigerator or sweeping or wiping down tables, I mean, bring a smile to his face. He come in the store, he's like, ooh, I want to help out. It's like, okay, what you want to do? What you got me do? What you want me to do? Sweep. He'll sweep. Wipe the table down. He'll wipe the table down. Put waters up. He'll put waters up. And he's not thinking about money. He's thinking about I'm doing something that's productive because we are in, we own this space, and I love it because he, without even asking him sometimes, he's like, I want to do something in here. He's taking ownership of just being a part of the business, not because of money. It's because he's a part of something, because he knows money's going to come when it comes, but it's not instant gratification. It's about working towards something. And I think, to answer your question is, just by having that dialogue and really showcasing that it's all about the service you provide versus the reward you receive, if that makes sense.
It does. Like I told my son, instead of asking you what do you want to do what do you want to be when you grow up, I asked you how do you want people to remember you when you're gone?
Yeah.
Because if you go into life, into adulthood, focusing on what do I want my purpose to be, then you will realize you will find a job that will help you fulfill that purpose, or you will create one, and that's no problem. Like I told my son, you can try different things also if you'd like. You can take this class for this or this class for this to figure it out now and take your time. Don't feel rushed. Don't think that you have to pick a career for the end all be all for the rest of your life. College isn't the only option. There's vocational school, there's options. And we don't want to tell our children, you have to just do this one thing. Or even the business I'm building right now on Flowbot Forge, I told him he can be in it if he wants to, but my ultimate goal is honestly to sell it and just keep a percentage of it.
Mm-hmm.
Build it up and either franchise it out and or sell it and just keep a percentage. And that way I could just get that recurring revenue and start a whole nother business.
Right.
That way he doesn't have to go into that industry, but I'm going to help him if he wants to start his own business or if he wants to buy a franchise.
Well, and that's the beauty about it. A lot of parents, we want our kids to be like us, or like, oh, we want our kids to be better than us. Not that we want them to be better. We shouldn't want them to be better than us or be like us. We want them to achieve their what purpose. And
Yes.
once you know your purpose, because you know your purpose, I know my purpose. My son and your son have to develop their purpose. And it's through trials and tribulations that they're gonna find their purpose. And the mere fact that we have these discussions with them and have ways that they can be successful, talking to them about ways to be successful, it helps them shape their purpose. Because now they're like, okay, I don't have, for example, my son, okay, I don't have to go to the military to be successful, or I don't have to work for the government, or I don't have to get a PhD or whatever case. I can do this and this. Like any job, take you to where you need to go. I used to work in shoe sales. I did shoe sales for a while as a grown adult, and I liked it. Because I was able to meet people, I was able to have the dialogue, and it helped me find my purpose and shape my purpose because I like customer service. I like being able to talk to individuals. That's one reason that got me into the business of food. Talking to people, I like engaging people. I like interacting with people. It's a great feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, our kids are going to be awesome because no, honestly, they have a better start than most people.
Yes.
And like you were apologize, hey, I know some people might say something. Your child was doing, like you said, the normal stuff he would be doing at home. but he's doing it in the business that's your family business, and he can feel ownership of it. These are moments that they're going to remember for the rest of their life.
Right.
And I mean that literally, because second year I went to Invest Fest. My son was with me. And Dan Cathy was on stage talking about remembering scraping gum from under the table. I'm sorry, Dan Cathy is the CEO, or was the CEO of Chick-fil-A. His parents started Chick-fil-A in Atlanta, Georgia. So he remembers scraping gum off the tables, helping dad clean up and all that stuff in Chick-fil-A. And so this is going to be for life. This is going to teach him the work ethic and discipline that he needs. And it's beautiful. So when it is time to reinvest your profits, how do you decide where to put your money to keep the business growing for the long term?
Well, a couple of vehicles we look at, and that's the piece I work with my accountant and my bookkeeper about. I say, listen, on my personal side, I know how to do it, but in the business side, I'm like, yeah, let me figure it out. So part of it, we've been looking at like money market accounts, high yield savings accounts, because by doing that, it allows you to put money away for those taxes that you got to pay, and you can do it from a 3-month, 5-month, year, 5, 7 years, 3 years. And by doing that, it allows that to grow, gain interest, and your business will continue to make more money or accrue interest that is good for you. So that's one vehicle we utilize. Another vehicle is have 2 business accounts. I would recommend 2 business accounts. One is for your day-to-day business. The other one is you just put money aside. You're like, okay, this is money I'm gonna use for the emergency money. I can do a portion, 15%, 20%, what I'm making, put it over here, because Murphy always happen. And you always gonna need that emergency money. So having those kind of going for you, your main business account, then your merchant business account is one vehicle, then plus your money market account or high yield savings account. That's great. Then have credit is good. People don't realize, but having the credit cards are good. Now, the thing about credit cards, debt is good, but debt is bad. So you have to ensure that you maintain a reasonable debt when you talk about putting money away, and put the things that really will help your credit card grow. Don't put miscellaneous things on your credit card. Put the things, maybe inventory, some type of inventory, because now you're putting high cost things on there on your credit card, but you're using it in the right way, because perks, depending on what type of credit card you have. I'm not going to name the credit cards, but depending on which ones you have, they have different perks to them. So maybe get 2 credit cards that have 2 sets of perks. One may have flight perks in X, Y, and Z, and money back perks, and those may have, the less amount that you spend on annual fees, things of that nature, or whatever the case may be. But I would recommend at least 2 credit cards that would help you manage your business and, really do a deep dive on it. I ain't talking about monthly. I'm talking about every other day deep dive, what I'm spending on,
Yeah. Yes. You should always know the ins and outs. You should always know your cash flow. Just
Right.
That's the word for it, is how your money's coming in and how it's going out, because that is the biggest pitfall, is not knowing how your money's coming in and out. And then that way you can use those credit cards to cover the gaps. So if you know you won't have enough revenue to cover inventory for the last 2 weeks of the month, but the money will come in, you can use the card to cover that and know that you can pay it off when the money comes in.
Right.
And yeah, that's always what I've been taught, is like, it's for a gap filler, not dependency, but you should use it on a regular basis because it helps you build up your credit. Yeah. And like you said, the rewards, the benefits, make sure you always choose one with rewards and benefits, because that puts money back in your pocket.
Yeah, when it comes to, like, even with inventory, I'm glad you hit inventory. Part of inventory, and that's the real thing that gets a lot of business on it. It got me really. I say your first 90 days, it probably going to take about 90 to 120 days to really understand inventory. If somebody say, "Oh, you can figure it out in 30 days," oh no, you're right. But the thing about inventory piece is that first 90 days, the 90, 120 days, look at what's selling and what's not selling. And you can save money. You're like, we're not really selling this much on this one. Oh, let me see about shaving this item off of the list, or not so much saving, but cut it 30%, 40%. You know what I'm saying? Or do I really need to reorder this item as frequently? So it's a lot that you can do to help balance your books, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. And just like back to inventory, seeing in your case, seeing when certain things are seasonal. Maybe there's something you took off the menu that you get a lot of people asking for
Mhm.
at a certain time of year. So you'll order it only that time of year. Or luckily, if it's only like Halloween special type stuff, people want
Mhm.
something that tastes like candy corn. So you order candy corn stuff just for October, for November and October, and
Yeah.
that's it. So yeah, but you got to get used to it first. You have to watch the trends and compare it to your inventory. So it is
Right.
kind of it's a special thing to do, and I like doing it. I just like numbers. I do. So speaking of the community, community impact isn't just charity; it's brand equity, right? So how do you measure that? Your actual strength that you're actually strengthening the community.
Well, part of it is it's not the sales or anything; it's the impressions you are making. So with where we're located, we have some uh, schools, and one of the things I like to do, and I have done in the past, is work with some different schools, did fundraisers with Howard Elementary School, did fundraisers with some of the local community outreach programs. So and donated bowls. We have donated bowls to people in groups. I give bowls. Shoot, I give bowls to homeless folks. I give food to homeless. Homeless person come in. I had a couple of homeless folks that come in the store. I just go, hey man, here, get some water, get this. Because reality is, the community is a mixed bag of people. It's the people who have money, the people who don't have money, the fortunate and less fortunate, kids, adults, teenagers, teachers, military, whatever side of the political aisle you're on. It's everybody. What we normally do is meet you where you're at. Let me donate some bowls. Hey man, you know what? I donate this number of bowls to you guys. They're like, oh, we want to purchase some bowls for this. That's fine, but I'm gonna donate some bowls because you're doing a great thing. For the teachers come in there, appreciate what you do. You student teacher discounts, because without you guys, our kids are lost. You with them for 8 hours a day. So really appreciating them and appreciating what they do. I'm not talking about a student teacher discount one time. I'm talking about ongoing thing, because we as a society, uh, we value the wrong things sometimes, and we don't uplift the things that we should uplift. And part of it is the teachers, the firemen, the police officer, the military, the city workers, the people who fixing our streets. I mean, we don't value these people. We just look at them as they just doing a job. And I'm like, you do know that job make us safer. That job make our lives easier, and just, donating bowls here, giving homeless something here, giving discounts there. I see some guys out here working on the street. Hey man, y'all want some? Man, I got some waters, and it is, especially a triple digit weather. You're just like, what can I do in this moment to help you? One, be comfortable. Two, not only be comfortable, but know that you appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of folks go through life. A lot of these people go through life, and you probably seen it. They don't feel like they appreciate it. They walk with a frown on their face because nobody said thank you for what you've done. And to me, really, two of the main things we do. And three, respect people culture. Somebody coming there, a Spanish speaking person, part of my job, I got two of my employees, they speak, Spanish. Try to learn Spanish. And if I could communicate with you a little bit, I do it. But, a word here or there doesn't hurt. I have another employee, he knows French. Hey man, let me learn a little French. I may get somebody who knows French coming here, but connecting to you on your level, or connect not so much on your level, but connecting to you where you at, because without connecting with you, we're just a business. And I don't want to be
Right.
just a business. I want to be a pillar of the community,
Yeah. We have to, as a whole, I think it's more America than it would be other countries, although I haven't traveled much lately. And especially in America, though, we value things more than people.
Right.
And I'm just saying we because I'm an American, but I value people more than things. And so when that becomes the narrative again, then we will have a better life. We will have happier, healthier people in the country. There's so many positive attributes that'll happen when people just realize that the goal isn't to wake up to work to buy stuff and pay bills every day, because that's why your brain values things more than people, because your focus is always just the next thing. I have to pay for the next bill, or I want to buy the new car, I want to buy the outfit or the thing, and instead of an impact, like you said, hey, I've invested into this business because now I can give back this extra food that I know I can just write it off as waste on my inventory. Like I can do this and I can do that. That's what people like you and I are working towards. Like it's not so we can get the next thing, it's so that we can actually start giving back. And we want to have enough so that we can pour into others. And so when that becomes the global mindset, it'll be a better place. And that's my purpose in sharing these stories, is so people can have a broader perspective and understand the uniqueness and the beauty in having a broader perspective and widespread understanding.
Right.
You don't have to agree with everybody, but you should understand their position, except for, of course, the most extreme detrimental stuff. Understand their position, and we can all cohabitate without having so much friction, so many fights. Your teenagers and children we see fighting in the stores and stuff. Imagine what's going on at their home.
Yes.
That's the part that people skip. Well, these kids are so delinquent with their parents or da da da. But what exactly is going on at their home? Maybe they don't have their parents. They could be going home alone every night.
Right.
You don't know. They could be going home to parents that are fussing and fighting and beating each other all night. They could be going home and they have to take care of all these kids and they feel stressed out like a grown up and still have to go to school. It's so many situations going on, and they need to be assessed and taken care of. And I'm not going to say kid gloves, because some people, you'll talk to them and they're like, no, they're very reluctant. So some people don't need kid gloves, but they need to be assessed and handled appropriately. That's all.
No, I mean that's a good point. That's a valid point, because me and my wife, we took my son to an event, and as we was walking out, this couple, they had their kids with them, and one of the kids pushed the other kid, and the kid pushed the smaller kid, and the smaller kid got up. She was mad, furious, and used unruly words towards the older kid, and I was like, well, that's happening at home. For that kid to be that child to be that upset and use certain language, I'm like, that happens at home. So you're right. We upset with kids or individuals, but we don't know the full scope until we are faced with it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then some kids, they might have a good home, or what I'll say is okay home. And the only reason I say okay home is because the parents are astute and they work and they think they're doing a good job with their kids. But when you send them to their room to watch whatever they want on the TV and listen to whatever they want on the radio and play the games with whoever they want online,
Right.
they're being fed stuff that you're not monitoring. And so there's a gap there, probably for one no that they got out of their whole life.
Yeah. That's true.
It's like you skipped teaching them resilience. You made them too comfortable.
Yes.
It's like, we do want to make our kids comfortable. We don't want them to have a hard time. And I understand that, but they do need to have a hard time.
They have to experience it. Right.
It's part of life. You're not always going to be there.
Right.
Especially when they're grown up.
Right. No. And that's part of, sorry to interrupt you on that, but that's part of it. Resiliency comes from tough times, and it's not tough times being forced upon you. It's tough times that's been placed upon you, and critical thinking is developed through the tough time. And that's where our kids, when you are not providing them with ways to critical think, even at a young age, when they get older, they would not do it. So yeah, let them understand what, I won't say failure is, because, we all, you don't want them to fail, but you would like for them to kind of experience it so they can understand.
Learn their lessons themselves.
Right. And figure out how to get on the backside of it.
Yeah. It's like what, not crying over spilled milk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I'll hand you the paper towels and let you clean it up.
Yes.
Don't rush and go clean it up for them. They need to figure out what's the next step. Hell, you spilled the milk. So what do you do next?
Yes.
Not go get mommy, she'll clean it up. Look, that's what happened last time. Because that's what's in their brain when you do that. Every time you jump and run and now there's some stuff that I run and jump and do because I am going to do it his whole life. I don't care. My son come home from practice or something. I'm gonna have dinner ready for him. I'm sorry, I don't care how old he gets. He called me and say, "Mom, come to the house at 40-something years old." Okay, I'm about to cook something.
But yet you're gonna teach him how to cook too. So now when he learns how to cook,
and he does.
And that's the thing. I mean, but would you teach him the value of what to expect, what he need to expect in life? Because it's a couple of things we teach our kids: how to treat others, what to expect from others, and how to be a better person. And all of it interchangeable, because a lot of times our kids will teach them how to treat others, and that's it. But we don't teach them what to expect from others and how people should treat you. We all teach, hey, you ought to be nice to other folks. It's like, you should demand respect too. Demand respect, communication, because it's not been evil or anything. It's just, you deserve that, because if you're going to push that energy out, you need to receive positive energy. In order for you to get that positive energy, you have to demand it. Hey man, no, you're not going to disrespect me. No, you're not going to yell at me. You're going to yes me. These are things that you're going to look at me. You're going to shake my hand. No, these are things that you're going to do, because this is what I expect of you, and that's what you should expect of me. But yeah. My bad.
Oh no, that was perfect, because when I was going to post the other day, that was one of the memes that was up there. It was a short video where the dad was teaching his daughter and son to respect each other, because they were doing as brothers and sisters do, arguing, fighting, calling each other names, and he had to stop it. No, don't do that. I told the son, one day you're gonna have a wife, and the daughter, one day you're gonna have a husband. You should not treat them that way. And yes, that's your brother right now, but however you treat this person right here is how you're going to treat others out in the world. So correct it now. So I reposted that for sure, because it was very important. People do skip that part. You think your children fighting against each other, oh, that's normal. Or boys, when they're fighting and wrestling, boys will be boys. No. What were they fighting over? Was that actually worth the violence that ensued? Or could they have talked it out? Should you be teaching them alternative ways to handle their aggression, their anger, their emotions? And usually it happens because the parent themselves have not dealt with that yet.
Right.
So, and I do recognize that. So until the parent gets the assistance that they need and the guidance, that the child will be doomed.
That's true.
To just take care of it themselves. I'm not going to say doomed, but to take care of it themselves when they get older. So,
right.
Yeah. Well, our last question for today, for that same next generation, right? What is one mindset shift, daily habit, or lesson that you want to pass down to the next generation who are building their generational wealth and legacy of their own?
That's a good one. Well, I would say, and I keep this one fairly short because we had talked about it before, but don't be triers, be doers. Really be a doer. And the reason I say that is because, like, the minute the thought come in your head, you're doing it, because you're thinking of ways to be successful. People respect you when you're doing. People acknowledge you when you're doing. People tolerate when you're trying. Oh, I'm trying to do this. Okay, got it. But when you're actually doing something, people will acknowledge it and they will work with you. So change your mindset of trying to do something to always doing it. Even when you're speaking to somebody, when you have not opened the door to your business and somebody say, what are you doing? You let them know you are doing this. Don't say you're trying to do it. Use the word doing. Be a doer, because you're holding yourself accountable for the actions that you know will bring you success. And for the next generation, don't focus on what you're not doing. Don't focus on the failures, because you're going to have failures. Everything's not going to be great. And it's not about how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. Getting up is the best part about it. You could be great at something today and tomorrow not so great. But the day after that, guess what? You work to get back to where you're at. Now, will you get to where you're at? No, because things happen. But always do your best. Always work towards something. Like you said, have a purpose. And my goal to the next generation is be doers. Don't focus on failures. Learn from your failure. Turn all failures, if you have any failures, because you're going to have them, into success stories. Because remember, the first thing about being a failure is you done it. You stepped out of your comfort zone to be able to fail. Once you go out, if you say you failed this test, did you study for it? Yes. Did you miss it? You missed some answers, some questions? Yes. Don't feel bad. Just adjust your thought process, and find a different way of doing it. But don't stay down on yourself. Find a silver lining. Be that doer that you are. Turn a failure into a success story. Learn from your failures. Learn from those things that you feel like you're not great at. And last but not least, don't be the smartest person in the room. Surround yourself with smart people, respect others. And once you have those things encompassed in your daily life, you will be very successful, no matter what it is. Relationships, business, sports, whatever you want, you'll be successful as long as you keep those key points to.
Yep. So you heard that, builders. Let that sink in. The plan, strong teams, deep faith, ironclad operational systems, and resilience when the systems fail you. The result is absolute legacy.
Yes.
Heartfelt thank you to you, Sims.
Thank you,
for
Ms.
dropping these real world receipts on the show today. Let's stop grinding. Let's start forging and stay bold, family.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, hey, Erica, I appreciate it.